Sorry, 1 second. Let me.
All right. What's up, everybody? We are live. Leighton, how you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
There we go. I didn't even get it this way, but it's all good.
You're deer in headlights right now. You got your shit squared away there?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right, awesome. All right, hey, friends, what's going on? Hope you guys are doing great. We're doing a YouTube Live, and this YouTube Live is actually going to be a really cool one because I know, as I always tell you guys, whatever that you... Oh, shit. I need to put this thing down on volume. Whatever it is that you guys end up giving for the Super Chats, and we're going to end up donating. Now, normally we end up donating this money. I double it. Whatever you give for the Super Chats, I double it, and then I donate it to Shriners Children's Hospital. This particular one, we're going to double it, and then I'm going to give it to Maui Strong. You guys know about the fires that's taking place in Maui. Maui is near and dear to me. It's a place I go to once a year. And for the last 20 years, and if there was another home for me, it'd be Maui. And so I want to make sure that we take good care of the people out there in Maui. So Leighton, we've got a great show today, man, going live. And all of you watching this, like, you know, guys, whatever your questions are, I'm here to answer. Anything y'all want to talk about, nothing is off topic as far as I'm concerned. So let's rock and roll.
Awesome, man. So while we kind of wait for the Super Chats to come in, I want to ask you about this new movie coming out, man. I gave you a little preview about it right now when you came in. I want to ask you about this new Snow White movie and kind of your thoughts about, you know, that movie and Barbie and all these different movies coming out and changing original stories. And actually, maybe not so Barbie. I don't know really what her original story is, but you know what the kind of the context of the movie was.
Yeah.
Snow White, you haven't seen any of the trailers or interviews or anything like that?
I just saw like a vague parody of it, and someone had made Snow White into a man. So I'm guessing what's happening now is we've changed Snow White, we've changed the dwarves, we've changed the storyline, we're changing history.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. The actress was, I think she's on like a red carpet, or she was at some kind of event where they're interviewing her about the new role in the new movie, and she was basically saying how it's no longer going to be about a love story. You know, the guys, whoever, I forgot the name of the actress, the role that's playing like the prince.
Yeah.
She's like, who knows? Like his scenes might all get cut. You know, it's Hollywood. That's how it goes. Like it might just be, you know, just my movie. She said it's not going to be focused about love. It's going to be focused on Snow White becoming the best leader that she can be and all this stuff. I said, what? It's not even. That's not even close.
I think that's great, man. So let's make sure that Snow White becomes a great leader. Let's make sure that Snow White steps into her masculinity. Let's make sure that Snow White gets a big, giant, veiny attached to her. And let's just absolutely do away with all men. I mean, let's cut out every male clip of, what is it, Prince Charming that comes in to save the day or something from Snow White.
She says it's not going to be a story about a damsel in distress and the man comes to save her.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. The only time that a man comes to save a woman is in real life, Leighton. All right? And real life is not real. Like, everyone needs to understand that. The world takes place on social media. The real world takes place in movies and cartoons that are manufactured. Real life is stupid. The only time we would ever need a real man to step in and save the day when a terrorist bomb goes off, a shooting happens, a house is on fire, is in real life. And well, real life, like that's dumb. That's dumb. That's what I'm learning. That's the narrative that they're putting out right now, which is stupid. And every single one of you, I believe, should boycott Disney. And let's not forget, man, that I worked at Disneyland. And I think I worked at Disneyland during the time when it was and it still had its narrative and agenda back then in the 90s, but it was more innocent. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the fact that we are taking away the reality of what men and women are, that we are taking away what a masculine man should do, and then putting women, forcing them to step into their masculine energies when that is not real life. And by the way, that little rant that I went on, I hope people understand I was being funny. That wasn't my position that, you know, real life is stupid. I really believe real life is how we should also showcase movies. That's how it used to be. But anyway, hey, they don't want Prince Charming? Fine. Let's just see how the world unfolds. And as things continue to go up in prices, as masculinity continues to erode, as your freedoms begin to go away, at some point you may or may not wake up and want to do something about it.
There we go, man. There we go. So We got our first super chat from Jerry. He sent $20. It doesn't look like he has a question. He just wanted to send it over, send it in his, let's say, his tuition.
Oh, right on, man. Jerry, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you for sending that. We're going to double that $20 and donate it to Maui Strong. And by the way, this might be a good time, man, to talk about what's happening in Maui. As I said earlier, hey, did Trulian just donate?
Yes, sir. I just saw that pop up right now, too.
Jeff, probably in the other room, running Trulian, just donated $50 on behalf of Trulian. I appreciate that, man. We will double that. And that goes to, not Shriners this time around, goes to Maui Strong. But, dude, you know, for the last 20 years, me and the family, we'd been going to Hawaii. It's just a very magical place, a very cool place for us. Andrew and I surf there all the time. We've made friends there who live there. We know people who own the gyms and et cetera. And Lahaina, which is the city there, a very touristy city, caught fire a couple weeks ago. And unfortunately, it was a devastating turn of events because this fire was fed by massive winds, like 60 to 80 mile an hour winds. And, you know, we have fire and winds here all the time in Southern California. We see what happens with these hills. Well, Lahaina, this entire city of 13,000 people, completely burnt down to the ground, and all its surrounding areas. And our current president is doing nothing about it, number one. Finally decided to cut his vacation short, and just recently, like 2 days ago, went to Maui to show support and do what a good leader should do. Except he's not a good leader. I believe he was reluctant to go because he's just brain dead, number one. He's got no incentive to go to Maui. Quite frankly, it's not like it's Ukraine that's giving him money back each time we give Ukraine money. He gets a little backdoor money in return. So we're seeing a lot of proof of that. So, hey, you know, if China or Ukraine caught fire, a motherfucker would be on a plane going there right now.
Exactly.
But,
crazy, man.
You know, our own country, Maui, catches fire and the dude doesn't go there. And then he's offering $750 per household. Bro, $750 per household is going to do nothing for you.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and so people are pitching in. All the guys from Operation Black Site, like Tim Kennedy, our dear friend, he's selling one of his shirts on Sheepdog Response. So shout out to Tim Kennedy. And he reached out to me. He said he's going to put all the profits from that particular shirt on sheepdogresponse.com. All the profits go to Maui Strong. And Andrew is going to drop the link here in the chat box for the Maui Strong Foundation. And all the money that you guys give through that link will go to the residents in Maui who are suffering, have lost, now over 100 people have died. More will be found over the next few weeks. People have lost everything, man.
It's crazy.
But anyways, I want to really stress this to you guys, that what ends up happening is big corporations, you'll see, will come in, and already they've started, because a lot of these people who live on the island, they don't have fire insurance. They couldn't afford fire insurance. They never thought a fire would take them out. And they're in a position where they live under humble means, right? And so when a great strip of what a corporation sees, a great strip of tourist land catches fire, they go, well, here's an opportunity for us to step in and buy your land from you. And all those tiny little homes that people have lived there for generations are going to go away, and mega hotels are going to pop there instead. What I liked about Lahaina was that it was still small. It was a tiny community. You would go to Lahaina to visit. The resorts were way outside of Lahaina. And I think that's how it should be. But now we hearing big corporations want to step in, buy up the land for dirt cheap. This, by the way, is what happened in 2020 during the pandemic, when as this virus was spreading across the world, and gyms and restaurants were shutting down, private equity was reaching out to me as the founder and CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp and offering to buy my brand, Fit Body Bootcamp, buy our franchise brand for pennies on the dollar. Because when a big corporation sees a catastrophe, they don't want to just help. They want to help by swooping in like vultures and taking advantage of a situation.
Help themselves.
And help themselves, exactly. And so that's what's happening. But if we can do this right, if we can raise enough money through Maui Strong to help people rebuild, man, that would be awesome. So like I said, the link is there in the super chats, and also or in the comment box, and every penny that you guys give during the super chats here, I'm going to double personally and give to the Maui Strong Foundation.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And so before I get into Dennis's question that he asked, I want to ask your opinion on kind of the situation with Maui. And so I think a lot of us, whether you're from the island or not, it kind of affects you in a way because you've probably visited if you've been on vacation, or it's a really big honeymoon spot. My wife and I went on our honeymoon in January 2018 and did the road to Hana and all this stuff. And It was a great time, man. And we were just kind of thinking about, like, man, that place where we went to, this specific restaurant, like, it's not there anymore now. Like, it's just so sad. Do you, I don't know if this is something we should talk about on live and get canceled or whatever, as far as like YouTube shutting it down, whatever, but do you think the fire was caused by something, just natural disasters? Or do you think it was something bigger than that, as far as like the land and property and trying to take it over that way?
Good question, man. Good question. With all the weird shit. See, this is a sad thing, right? Since the pandemic, we've been told so many lies by the one entity that we should be able to trust, our government, the people that we at one point voted to put in power to look after our country, to look after our states and cities and counties, our roads and our infrastructure. We can't trust them anymore. We've been told so many lies since the pandemic. Elon Musk proved, once he bought Twitter, that the great big lie where they were literally suppressing what was going on with Hunter Biden, so that it doesn't, quote unquote, interfere with the election and doesn't, accidentally boot Joe Biden off the election card, right? And so I hate to think that there was something intentional done with Maui. I hope that this was an accident. I hope that it was, I don't know, maybe a lightning strike. Maybe someone was camping and a fire went out of hand and the winds didn't help the situation. But it's so sad that we live in a time in just last 3-4 years where things have accelerated to a point where we just can't trust the government. We can't trust what the media says. We can't trust what the government says or does. And so we have to look at everything through skepticism. So I'm sure as someone does the research, they'll find what's going on. At this moment, I'm going to stay optimistic and say that this was probably just a natural cause. And I hope it was. And if it wasn't, God help the motherfucker who did this. I wish them 1,000 horrible deaths.
That's crazy, man. It's insane. It's insane. So let me get to Dennis's question. Shout out to Dennis. Sends a super chat. He says, how do you find like-minded people who want to do better? It's so easy to settle for mediocrity when everybody around you is settling. Where do you go?
Yeah, that's a good question, Dennis. And so how do you find like-minded people when everyone around you is settling and you want to put yourself in a position where you can be on the up escalator of life? And the answer to that is, you would ask yourself, where would people like me be? Immediately, I might say, well, they might be doing hard things. Maybe they're at a CrossFit, doing a CrossFit challenge, right? Like some CrossFit games. Maybe they're at a marathon. They're running a marathon. Maybe they're in a gym, doing hard workouts in the gym. Maybe they are at a conference like Bedros Keuilian Live, which is sold out. And I appreciate all you guys sliding into my DMs and asking, like, is there tickets that you could buy for twice the charge or twice the fee? We are absolutely sold out. In fact, we're sold out by 60 extra seats, to the point where we have overflow happening in the green room, where the speakers are going to be hanging out. The keynote speakers are going to be hanging out with 60 people who bought VIP tickets, are going to be hanging out in the green room with the speakers. So sorry, we can't sell you any more tickets, but like Bedros Keuilian Live event, all right? Like my friend Ed Milet and Andy Frisilla run the Arte Live. In fact, many years ago, I helped them start the Arte Syndicate Mastermind. And, join masterminds, go to live events, whether it's a... think of a Spartan race or a mud run. How many like-minded people you'll find. Jesse Itzler. You guys should be following Jesse Itzler on Instagram. And he's got this thing where he gets a whole bunch of like-minded people, just badass, savage people who are high achievers, people who have high vibration, people who are great entrepreneurs, people who are great leaders, athletes. And it doesn't cost much. It's like a few $100, and he'll go rent a mountain in Utah. And he says, for the next 24 hours, we're going to try and hike up the mountain as many times as possible. And he'll set up a whole bunch of tents and stuff down at the base camp of this mountain where you could eat you could drink. So he sets up food and hydration and little tents where you could take a power nap, right? And there's like bands and music. So he just makes it a thing. Like I do that with all the live events that I run, whether it's the project, whether it's the Squire program, whether it's Misogi. Once a year when we do Suck Fest, and I open it up to people who want to come out and visit. But find a live events that people like you are going to go to and go there, and don't just be a wallflower, but shake hands, introduce yourself, connect. And before you know it, your network of high achievers are bigger than your network of crop dusters.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think that kind of answers not only just finding a group of friends, like a nice tribe, but also too when people ask you like relationship questions about where do I find, the right girl or the right guy or whatever, go to the place that you like to spend time with that girl, right? If you like surfing, then go surf, enjoy it for yourself, and then you might find a girl that likes to surf. So I think that's the same thing with anything. If you're trying to find your tribe, trying to find your posse, your group, go there and for yourself, and then you might run into some people and shake hands and introduce yourself, You
make a good point, and I think the answer is go there. Like, you said it, and I keep saying it, go there. And I think with social media, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all these things, we kind of feel like, hey, I'm already hanging out with Bedros. I'm already hanging out with Leighton. I'm already hanging out with all these people. But you're not, because it's a one-way conversations. We're speaking into you. Like, I get it. This is live right now, so we're also getting feedback and answering your questions. But to be there in person, in proximity, feeling someone else's energy, shaking hands, breaking bread with them, figuring out what kind of a human they are. Like, dude, there's nothing as powerful as that. Or going through an experience with them, a mud run, a Spartan race, the project, Misogi, whatever the thing is, a live event for 2 days where you're just like running, hey, you want to go catch a workout after the event's over, right? Like, what a great way to bond with someone you just met at an event and have a lifelong friend. The answer is go there.
There we go. Ben Sturman sends a super chat. He says he just watched this morning's episode today and he really needed that. He says, shout out to you.
Good, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, if y'all haven't seen the episode that we launched this morning, it's entitled "How to Unfuck Yourself." It's a great episode. Highly recommend you guys watch it, subscribe to it, and share it, please. That would mean a lot to me.
Here we go, and then we got a super chat from Flavio Gracian. Doesn't have a question, just sent some love, sent $10, so that's going to be doubled and sent to Maui. So thanks for that, man. We appreciate
that.
And then another super chat from Kevin Crone. Also doesn't have a question, just people sending some love this morning and enjoying the content. So thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Jerry sends a super chat. He says, what is your mental process to keep you going if and when you get tired?
So I try and not let myself get to the point of tired or burnt out, right? Because if you let yourself get there, then you're having ebbs and flows. I don't want to have highs, super highs in my life. I don't want to have super lows in my life. I don't want to have the ebbs and flows. I am a constant. You hear that popular Jocko Willink quote, good, right? He says, good. They go, hey, Jocko, this went wrong. We're under attack. He goes, good. We can test out what we've learned as Navy SEALs. Hey, Jocko, we just won that battle. Good. We've got another battle still coming, right? The answer is always good. I don't want to be great. I don't want to be on top of the world, because if I'm on top of the world, let's say I won the $300 million power lottery, right? The Powerball lottery. Oh my God, I'm celebrating for a whole week. I'm on top of the world. Inevitably, unless I win $400 million at the end of that week, the only place to go is down.
Right.
And so why do I want to be that high? So I always try and maintain my energy. I have a predictable routine. And my predictable routine sets me up to win, makes my life predictable by way of when I go to bed, how I wake up, what I consume in terms of food, in terms of information, when my workout is, what my day looks like. And when the unpredictable happens, let's go with the worst case scenario. A couple years ago, we had some fires here in Chino Hills that just put my house and our HQ here at risk.
Crazy.
Like, if that wasn't bad enough, typically it's either my house or the HQ at risk. This fire a couple years ago put my house and HQ at risk. And so for about a week, while they were putting that fire out, 3-4 days, I had to live my normal life while also realizing that there's a problem that's out of my control. I hope these firefighters and and bulldozers that are, trying to put out the fire on the hills here. The problem with living in Chino Hills is there's a lot of hills. And when the hills are on fire, they just literally wait for that fire to go down the hill to come to you. You know this.
Right.
And then it's like, fuck, man, it seems like it's like feet away from your house. And then they do put it out. But if they don't, there goes your house.
It's
but
like,
so when there is a fire like that, and it's a problem that's out of my control, let's say it's the pandemic, let's say it's a fire, I cope with it by realizing there's only so much I could do about the fire. I might as well put my energy on the things that I can control. My health, my mindset, my clients, my business, my family, and then let the firefighters do what they're supposed to do. And so if someone's having a lot of problems in their life and how do I cope with those problems because it makes me tired and exhausted, I would say look at your life pattern. Who are the friends you're hanging out with? How unpredictable is your life pattern? Do you sleep at the same time, eat at the same time, work out at the same time, have friends who want to build you up and not tear you down? If you don't, create a life pattern that you don't have ups and downs. You just have good, steady.
Yeah, exactly, man. Focusing on controlling what you can. That reminded me of anybody that skates. Shout out to any of the skaters. If there's anybody watching that skates or used to skate, I learned this from a pro skater. He's a legend nowadays. But Jeff Rowley, I remember I saw him in I think it was, I don't know if it's the Extremely Sorry skate video, but it was a skate video before. It was like at least 10 years ago, and I remember he slammed super hard. Like he was like, I don't even remember what trick he was doing, but he was grinding some massive hubba, and he slammed super hard, fell from the top all the way to the bottom. And I remember just like as a little kid being like, damn, that was gnarly. And he just got up and he was like, that felt great. And he just ran back up and did it again. And then I kind of took that on, like when I'd slam, when I was skating, like, that felt great. Just keep going. I think perspective's everything, man. So that's I don't know why that reminded me of that right now, but perspective's everything. Okay, cool. So Free sends a super chat. Says, I'm 31, single with no kids, obtained my master's with a full ride scholarship, physically fit. I run 10Ks, achieve goals, money saved and invested, but I'm ashamed that I still live with my parents, seeking to leave in 2024. Thoughts?
Great. Hey, listen, man, if you're doing all the right things and in this time you're living with your parents so that you can stack your future up for success, live with your parents, but also have a deadline. And I think when we're doing something that we're not necessarily super duper happy about, have a deadline. Like, okay, I'm willing to live in this Section 8 housing for up until this point. By this point, I have to be moved out. Because once you have a deadline, it's like holding your feet to the fire. Now you know that, all right, I'm willing to suck it up and eat shit, either living in my parents' house, Section 8 housing, living out of my Toyota pickup. There was a period of time in my life where for 3 months, I was living out of my Toyota pickup. I had set a date, like hell or high water, I will not be living out of this Toyota pickup. By doing that, your subconscious mind starts finding the solutions to your money problems to help you move out of your truck and into an apartment. It wasn't the best apartment that I moved into, but it was still an apartment and it beat living out of a pickup truck. And so nothing wrong with that, man. Just set a date on when you're going to bounce out of your parents' house. And in the meantime, keep stacking yourself up for success in life.
There you go. And it always feels like it's when you're in it, and I can speak from experience because I just left 2 years ago. Yeah. And living at my mom's house, I used to hate. I think I understand what you're saying, man. Or a woman, I don't know. It says your name's just Free. So, anyways, whoever this is who sent the super chat, I understand where you're coming from, where you just hate having to say that you live with your parents. But at the end of the day, people aren't tripping like that. They're worried about their own stuff, their own issues. And then once you finally get your own place, whether it be an apartment, townhome, home, whatever it is, you'll forget about the time that everything's just going to go so quickly. So anyways, don't worry about it. It's all good. It's going to go quickly and you'll be having your own spot in no time. Let
me read one real quick here. It just jumped out at me. It's by David Christopher.
Okay.
He says, I'm constantly being tested by my girlfriend because of her trust issues with her past boyfriends. It's been almost 2 years, being put on the spot. I'm losing faith. You got any advice? Well, David, if it's been 2 years and you're losing faith, doing anything beyond that is not going to help you. In other words, this is how your marriage is going to look, and this is what your kids are going to experience. I don't know if your girlfriend is seeking help. I don't know if your girlfriend is seeking counseling, therapy. I don't know if your girlfriend wants to get any better, but if she has trust issues with you because of her past experiences and she's not doing anything to better herself after 2 years, 24 months of being with her, you might want to just move on and make a mental note to find someone who does not have trust issues, loyalty issues from past boyfriends that they're going to carry into this new relationship with you.
For sure. That's a big one, man. We have another super chat. The username just MH sends $20. Says Maui Strong. Thanks for all you and your team do. Started following you a couple weeks ago. Love your podcast and book.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
It's super cool too, man. There's a lot of people that I mean, obviously, like you're growing at an insane rate. You've been around for a long time, and so there's always people trickling in. But it always trips me out how many people they become just extreme followers and believers of you immediately. Like I just spoke to when I was talking to Jan.
Yeah.
She just heard about you 2 days ago. I don't know if she told you that.
Yeah, she did. It was off the podcast with the 11 business tips, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so I just think that's so awesome, man. And obviously credit to you and all the value you give, and people they feel that. It's not something that comes across as fake. They can understand when there's a genuine person who understands what they're talking about, really trying to help, further people.
Dude, I'm so glad you teed that up too. Real quick, like those of you that are like, hey man, how do I step into my truth? How do I hear this posed to me so many ways. How do I step into my truth? How do I show up authentically? How can I be more vulnerable on my social media posts so people can trust me? Mm-hmm. The answer is track record. Build a track record of wins. Like have a reputation of being a winner over a long period of time. I'm talking 5 and 10 years. Mm-hmm. If you haven't done that, then your lack of confidence is going to show. Your lack of expertise is going to show. You're not going to feel confident enough to just showcase your emotions, your vulnerability, your authenticity, because you're going to be too guarded and protected. Instead of trying to become an expert and a guru overnight, consider stacking wins, building companies, or whatever the thing is that you want to be great at, right? If you're like, hey man, I want to be a great coach to athletes. I believe I'm a great coach to athletes. Well, go actually win in that sport over and over again, or better yet, go and coach others for free and make sure they win. Develop a track record of taking athletes who are good and making them great, taking them good to great, good to great, good to great. You do that long enough and stack it enough times over enough people, you have a undeniable amount of proof that you are a savage at what you say, and you will show up authentically.
100%, man. No. Marco Gole didn't send a super chat, but he has a question. He says, I'm 18 years old. I know that I want to make money. In parentheses, it says, who doesn't? But I don't have a passion or a burning desire. How do you know what your vehicle to get to that point of success is supposed to be?
Yeah, good question. You said he was 18, right? Mm-hmm. Brother, if you're 18, and all you guys, if you're anywhere between, like I get this, well, you see the DMs, like anywhere from 15 to like 22, 23 years old, and you're like, hey, I don't know what my passion and purpose in life should be. Yeah, because you're 18, you're still a kid. But what you should do is go, let me find someone that I respect, working in an industry that I like or that I'm at least interested in, and let me go work for them. Mm-hmm. And what I would suggest is you work for them in sales or marketing. Get good at sales or marketing, because let's say someone's like, hey, and we don't have any openings here right now, guys, but if we did, this would work. So don't apply here.
I'm going to say be careful.
Yeah, we're going to get a bunch of DMs. Yeah, we do not have any openings here. But if we did, this would apply. So let's say you like me and my content, my intensity, and my passion, and what I stand for. Great. And you're like, you know what? He's in the fitness, health, and wellness space. I like what this guy's about. I'm into fitness, health, and wellness, and nutrition. So I'm going to go work for him. Cool. Then you would apply to work for us because you like and respect me. You like the industry that I'm in, but you don't necessarily know if that's what you want to do and launch into for yourself, for life. And you would do sales or marketing for me. You would be basically getting paid to get mentorship. And over the next couple of years, you would fine tune what it is that you want to do in life. And you would eventually turn in your resignation and move on and do your own thing. I've had 6 employees over the years quit, turn in their resignation and move on and do their own businesses. 2 of them came back around and became coaching clients, you know? And so, but when you're 18 and you're like, I don't know what my passion and purpose should be, it should be to chase tail and be jacked and make money. That's all you got to be worried about right now. Chase tail, be jacked, and make money. And when you do that, when you're making money, work for someone that you respect in an industry that you like, and you're going to get a lot of mentorship.
There we go. Excellent Coffee sends a super chat and says, keep being a blessing. So
Thanks,
no
brother.
question there, just
Appreciate
wanted
it.
to give you that. Let's go down. Now we have Shad Stoltz says, I want to connect with you. I'm local in SoCal. He says in parentheses 30 minutes from HQ, but can't afford to attend the live event. I have 40 employees. Oh, sorry, there's 40. It went down. Okay, anyways, I have 40 employees and also train high school kids. How do I make that happen? Suckfest, thank you for all that you do.
First of all, he's got 40 employees and he couldn't afford $400 to come to buy a ticket to BK Live. It's shocking to me. But beyond that, Shad, what you're going to want to do is when I announce Suckfest that's going to take place in December, I'll announce it sometime in November. Come out to it. It's free. It takes place at my gym, and it's painful. It's horrible. It lasts 24 hours through the night, and it'll be an awesome experience, man. Looking forward to seeing you here in December.
There we go. All right. Sensei Emmett says, this dude is awesome. Just listening to one of his videos 8 weeks ago motivated me to get off my ass and take control. My first book was released 2 weeks ago.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations on your book.
Awesome.
Hey, by the way, let me tee up a conversation real quick, guys. I just heard through the grapevines that apparently we're about to have another lockdown. That apparently
talk about it.
Yeah, mid-September, late September, they're going to start imposing masks again at airports and then on airplanes. And then come October, November, the masks across cities and in businesses. And then, of course, back to locking businesses down. I believe this is happening because of the upcoming elections. I do believe it's a fear tactic. I do believe that if we do not comply, then we won't experience it. If you want to recreate what took place in 2020 and 2021, only now we look back and realize that was all unnecessary, then go ahead and comply with all this. And I don't know if this is happening. I just heard it from a few credible sources. So I'm going to assume that it's going to happen. And the timing is perfect in terms of the elections coming up. Because what better way to, again, try and win an election by locking people at home and then saying you have to do the mail-in ballots, and that's where the whole discrepancy was. I don't know if the election was stolen or not, and I'm not saying it was. I'm saying that wouldn't it be great if, my man Pat David said this. He goes, we go to the airport and we give them our ID. They put our driver's license in that little fucking machine real quick at TSA, and they go, oh, you're Leighton. Okay, yeah, you got a flight. It's with this airline. Come on through. How easy was that? And the TSA was created after 2001, after 9/11. So it's a relatively new thing. Like up until that point, you and your whole family can walk up to the gate and your family could see you off.
Right.
So if the TSA is so brand new and they could do that with an ID, since voting has been around for so long, and I get it, maybe people don't want to, do it online or whatever for all the obvious reasons. Why can't we go to a proper voting place with our ID to identify who we are and that we're a legitimate legal citizen and that we're not a dead person that's voting? Because I don't know how many thousands of dead people somehow ended up voting. I don't know how many illegal aliens ended up voting. But if you can show up with your ID proving that you're alive and you're legal and then swipe your ID and then vote, wouldn't that be a great election process? But the election process is coming up, and these lockdowns that may happen mid to late September and then continue on from there, do not comply is my suggestion.
There we go.
If you love your freedom, if you love your businesses, if you love this country.
King Flores sends a super chat. He says, I'm going to be a father and just want to say thank you. Your videos have helped me prepare for the 2.0 version of myself. From a fellow immigrant, thank you.
Right on, brother. I appreciate that. And make sure to read the book, Raising a Modern Day Knight by Robert something. Great book.
Awesome. And then Alyssa sends a super chat, says, thank you for your guidance, Bedros. How do I let my actions speak louder than my words and not be bothered by family talking behind my back? Also, pray for me as I apply for nurse anesthesia school.
Oh, great for you, man. That's awesome. So first off, congratulations on applying and hopefully getting into the nursing school as a anesthesiologist nurse, I would assume. That is freaking awesome, man. Look, you just keep living your role model life. Alyssa. You just live your role model life. Don't let anything stop you. March to the beat of your own drum. You are responsible for your own life. When you look back from your deathbed, looking back to today, are you really going to feel like, man, I'm glad people told me what to do and I'm glad I listened to them? Or are you going to say, I'm glad I marched to the beat of my own drum? So, move forward to the beat of your own drum and don't worry about it. There is no magical thing I can tell you like, well, if you do this, then you won't be bothered by it. Just don't be bothered by it. And one of the best ways to not be bothered by it is by eliminating or at least reducing your connection, your affiliation, your time with those people in your life, in your family, who aren't congruent to the lifestyle and the goals that you want to live. It's simple as that. There's people in my family that I don't talk to anymore for several years now. And I'm okay with that because I've got a life and a mission that I'm on, and they don't understand it. They're not congruent with it, and their lives are opposite of what mine is, and so I've chosen to disconnect from them. Feel free to do the same.
There we go. Real quick, I think the sound is okay. I don't see anybody else complaining, but somebody said no sound, question mark. We're good on sound, right?
Maybe his volume.
Okay, it's probably just his volume.
Turn up your volume.
Turn up the volume. Yeah. I didn't see anybody else complaining. I just wanted
Can you hear me now? Yeah, just fucking around, bro.
All right. Michael Hill sent in a super chat. Shout out to you. He doesn't have a question. He just wanted to just send in some money.
Right on. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it, man.
We appreciate that. And then Andrew behind the scenes sent us a couple questions. These are not super chats, but there are questions in there that stood out to him and wanted us to go over. David Nelson asks, what are some life-changing marketing strategies for an online resale business? I know you're not in that world, but but you probably have some great ideas. Thanks in advance, David.
So he wants to know some marketing strategies for an online retail business?
Yes.
Okay. So,
or he says resale. So I'm assuming maybe like, for example, like if you're buying Supreme or Jordans and you resell it, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what
well, whether it's retail or resell, it's going to be the same thing. Okay. What I would do is I would figure, and people forget to do this, man. I just talked to a coaching client this morning, and I was like, hey, who in the industry is doing it really well? Mm-hmm. So if this guy, let's say, is buying Jordans and Supremes and then reselling it, right? Mm-hmm. Then I would go on eBay and I would go on, goat.com and all these other websites, and I go, who's doing it really well, right? Like one of my coaching clients is crushing it on Amazon. Their company is called Above the Par. It's 3 dudes who are just destroying it on Amazon. They're doing $1 million a month, right, in Amazon sales. And when I hear from people who go, hey, I have an Amazon store and it's not doing well, and then when I coach these guys up on Amazon and they're in the top 1% of Amazon wholesalers that are doing really well,
insane.
The thing that I have them do and the thing that they continue to do is they see who's doing $2 million a month and what are the things that those people are doing well, and then replicating those things and doing it better. So if this guy's doing something, someone else is already out there doing it better. Right? So if I'm going to create an online shoe store, I'm going to probably see what Zappos is doing, what goat.com is doing, and then I'm going to go, how can I do it better? Make a better unique selling proposition, offer a better risk reversal, maybe do better on the shipping side of things. When I bought equity into Fuel Hunt brand, right, the first thing I said was, guys, have we looked into other apparel companies to see what they're doing? What are the best practices? Are they using influencers, right? How are they paying those influencers? Are they paying them commission? Are they paying them just a straight up, like, here's a $2,000 flat fee each month to post this many times a month? Or are they given a discount code in exchange for a commission? So while I can't tell you what the actual strategy is, my friend, since I don't know your business and I can't just sit here and coach you without knowing the details of your business, what I can tell you is someone is already out there. In fact, there's probably several other companies out there doing what you want to be doing really well. Deconstruct their business model and then apply it to yours. I'm not saying copy them, don't plagiarize them. I'm saying model success. The second thing I would do, which is what I tell my clients, is what other industries are in a similar, like a parallel industry that you can model, right? So if this guy sells supplements online and we're selling apparel online, well, supplements and apparel, hey, it's still a product. It's not a service. It's a product being sold online. What is a supplement company doing that we could maybe apply in our apparel company? And that is how you begin to model success. And if you can learn to look outside of your business, see who's doing well, deconstruct that model and model success, you'll win a lot faster than just, trying to figure out the best marketing campaign.
Boom, there it is. Also, guys, I want to give another shout out to everybody who sent super chats and remind you that it's going to Maui Strong. So donating the whatever you donate, we're doubling it and donating it to Maui. And it reminded me, because I don't know if I read Trulian's super chat or not. I acknowledge them, but I don't know if I read it. It said Trulian will also match all super chat donations as well. So all this money is going to Maui, and so you guys ask questions, and it goes to Maui. So thank you guys for that.
So guys, understand this, that Trulian, my supplement company, my VP Jeff back there who runs Trulian is going to match it. So really, for every super chat donation you make here, we're tripling the money now, right? Instead of just doubling it, we're tripling it, and the money goes to help those who lost their homes and possessions in Maui.
For sure. All right, what is this, Vida Kanu? How do you deal with overcoming the person you used to be to become the man you want to be?
Well, you do that by slowly rewriting your story. So the way you kill off the old version of yourself is by adopting new habits that you want the best version of yourself to have. So if you're like, hey, the best version of myself makes a lot of money. Well, figure out how to make a lot of money. The best version of myself is lean and jacked. Great. Figure out how to exercise right and eat clean, or hire a coach to teach you that. If the best version of yourself wakes up early, then start going to bed early so that you can wake up earlier and meet that promise. If the best version of yourself is in a healthy relationship, then either fix your shitty relationship, get out of it, or find a better relationship and get into it. But identify what the awesome version of you looks like draw it out, draw out the avatar of the 2.0 version, and then start doing the things that the 2.0 version would do, like the habits, the beliefs, the daily routines. And soon the old version dies and you've given birth to the new you.
There we go, man. Blake Wilson asks if another 2.0 question. If the 2.0 version were standing face to face with the 1.0 version of yourself, what direction/advice would he give him?
If the 2.0 version was standing face to face with the 1.0 version with me, the advice that I would give my 1.0 version of me would be this, that I've said this before on podcasts, so I know the answer. Take bigger risks more often, and don't share your dreams with people who have small minds and can't wrap their head around it.
Man, take notes on that one. I'm telling you, that was some serious game. I'm telling you, because I can't tell you how many times I hear about people, or I'll see them literally they're excited to tell their vision or what they're working on. Like, you're excited about it, but that doesn't mean the person you're telling is excited about it or that they want to see you win. And so you'll literally see the person's face completely change when the person's kind of like, oh, you sure you want to do that? Or you think that's going to work? And then now they kind of they dim your light.
Bingo.
It's then you're not going to do it. It's crazy, man. Just off of a facial expression they made or some words, it kind of just derails you completely. So that's major, man.
Dude, and the reason for that is because you're, if you're saying this to a family member, let's say a spouse, a sibling, a mom or a dad, a best friend that you trust and love, you've grown up with. So you put a lot of weight in what they say or their facial expressions, right? You're like, man, we've known each other for years. Like, what you feel about this matters to me. Just because they can't wrap their head around this big mega dream of yours doesn't mean that it can't be done and put out to reality. That just means that they have a small mind, no fault of their own, in that one category. And so you have to be very protective of your dream and who you're going to share it with.
Right, for sure. Super chat from Purpose Over Pleasure. Hey, there we go. Shout out. He says, what's up, BK and Layden? Alex here from the Gogi. What a great cause to donate to. Just wanted to say hi and thank you guys for taking the time to connect with people. Make men great again. Shout out to Alex, man. What's good, bro?
Right on. Thanks, Alex. And by the way, Agogi. Yeah, Agogi Fitness. If you guys Google Agogi Fitness, you guys can. So if you're wondering, Agogi Fitness, well, didn't you used to promote Battle Ready? Yeah. Agogi Fitness and Battle Ready merged together. So Battle Ready Fitness, where myself and Byron merged with Nick Koumalastos and his business partner, Josh. And Nick Koumalastos has been a coaching client and now a dear friend of mine for many years now. And so we brought Battle Ready and Agogi together. And in fact, Andrew, if you can drop the link to Agogi Fitness in the chat box here, that would be awesome. It's a great way to get lean, get jacked, eat clean, be part of a community of men who lift each other up. A lot of accountability, inspiration, and motivation for you guys. But yeah, Agogi and Battle Ready have merged, and we've taken on the Agogi name.
Here we go.
Yeah. Hey, real quick for all my Australian friends, I forgot to talk about this, and I've got a note here. I know I teased on Instagram. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I teased that I was going to be in Australia summer of 2024. So just so you guys know, I can't give any other details than what I'm about to give you now, but here it goes. If you are from Australia and you've been waiting for me to come to Australia, we have scheduled a tour in Australia, and that tour will take place in Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. I don't know how to say it well, so I apologize if I slaughtered that. But those three big cities, and it'll take place in July of 2024. Specific dates and locations and how to sign up for one of those three cities will be coming up in the next probably 30 to 60 days, so sit tight. But I'm coming to Australia, friends.
Here we go. It's going down. All right, Tracy Hall asks, he says, I'm a former United States Marine working on opening a gym focused on vets, working with a nonprofit that will pay me for all the vet classes, but I'm having trouble getting funding. Do you have any advice?
Yeah, so first off, thank you for your service, brother. I really appreciate that. Secondly, I don't know anything about nonprofits. I've never started a nonprofit. I've never had any coaching clients that have nonprofits. So man, you'll see that if I don't know the answer, I'm going to tell you I don't have the answer. But how would I get the answer in raising capital and raising money for this? I would start researching on YouTube and on Google how to raise money for a nonprofit organization. And then I would find nonprofit organizations, kind of like the advice we gave earlier, find nonprofit organizations that are good at raising money and reach out to that person who's running it, the founder, the CEO, the second in command. You'll find them on LinkedIn. You'll find them on Instagram. DM them. You have to DM a whole bunch of them. You probably have to DM 15, 20 of them for one of them to get back to you and go, hey, man, I'm starting a nonprofit in this category. I need to raise money, and I don't know how. I keep running into roadblocks. I've done all the YouTube and Google research, and this is the information that I found. Can you just tell me is this accurate? Because I see you guys doing a great job of it. Is this accurate? Is there anything else I'm missing? Can I buy you lunch and you can teach me how to raise money? Because again, someone out there is already doing what you want to be doing. Model success. Get coaching. Pay for their time.
Here we go, man. Justin Lamb. Actually, hold up. Before I get to Justin Lamb, I just saw a hello from Madagascar. I just think that's dope. You got literally people from all over the place.
Madagascar, that is awesome, man.
So shout out to Madagascar. That's dope.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So now I'll get to Justin Lamb. What's up, Justin? He says, hey, BK, new entrepreneur here. I'm starting to feel the increased levels of stress and responsibility that comes with owning a business. Each inconvenience makes me anxious. How do I deal with stress?
The way you're going to deal with stress is you're going to make sure that, one, you exercise often and you make it a very, very, very anchoring and key part of your morning routine, not evening routine. Workout in the mornings, number one. Number two, make sure you have a great nutrition program that kind of gets you the vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, magnesium that you need, especially if you're stressed. All those vitamins and minerals run out a lot quicker. Also fish oils, right? The omega-3s. So if you can get it from natural foods, even better. But if you can't, then you're going to want to supplement that stuff. So we got exercise, we got nutrition dialed in. You want to make sure you get your sleep consistent. Go to sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time, 7 days a week. Number four, hydration. Stay hydrated with water, at least a gallon of water per day. And number five, I'm going to bookend the two things with physical things, right? We started with exercise being number one, first thing in the morning, getting it done. And the last thing there is do hard things, like choose hard challenges, like stay awake one night every a quarter and go do a hike all throughout the night. Go and do some crazy ass mud run or Spartan race, or come do the project or the Musogi challenge that we have. If you go to bedroskeuilian.com, you'll see all the different challenges. Hell, do the free marathon challenge. Andrew, can you drop the link to the marathon challenge? You're literally, I'm giving you a 6-week marathon training program, nutrition program, and mindset motivation program for free. And if you're like, well, I don't know, I can't pay for a marathon. Hey, you don't have to go sign up to a marathon. You can drive your car 13.1 miles and then drive it back. There's your 26.2 miles, which is a marathon. Use the training program I'm going to give you, bedroskeuilian.com/challenge. and then you're going to follow through. But when you do hard things consistently over and over again, this is why when men come to the project and they go through the 75 hours of the project, the thing that they tell me over and over again over the next year as I'm mentoring them and coaching them in the Project Mastermind is, man, what used to stress me out and what kind of registered as a level 8 or a 9 on my stress Richter scale now registers as like a 2 or a 3. Because when you've done something hard for over a longer period of time, your thermostat, your ability to deal with hardship becomes calloused, and you're able to overcome difficulties and the stresses of life more. And entrepreneurship, as our friend is discovering here, is very, very stressful. So do hard shit and then take good care of your body, because you are an athlete as far as I'm concerned. Entrepreneurs need to be athlete-minded and not employee-minded.
Here we go. All right, so I want to ask you this question. It's not a super chat, but I think it's important because you have a great perspective on it and great advice that you actually got from Jim Franco, I believe.
Yeah.
And he says, Blockhouse says, do you recommend getting an investor or taking out a loan to start a new business?
Good question. I don't know the size of the business. If it's a small enough business that you can start on a shoestring budget, then just start it on a shoestring budget of your own. You know, if you've saved up money, or maybe you're going to borrow money from your bank account or whatever, right? So that's what I would recommend. If it's going to be a big business, then I would do what Jesse Itzler always talks about, which is to test small, prove that it works, and then scale big very quickly. And then that's where you're going to need to raise money through friends and family, through private equity, through investors, through banks, right? So if it's a big business, like if I were to start a franchise again, I would raise money.
Right.
I would probably raise about $5 million, $5 to $7 million to start a franchise. I don't care if it's a fitness franchise, yogurt franchise, a fucking automotive Jiffy Lube type franchise. But if I were going to start, let's say, an online coaching business, like a nutrition coaching, mindset coaching, business coaching, lifestyle coaching, I would start that without raising money. Like you can start that on a shoestring budget.
Got it. I got a super chat from MH again. He says, wish I found you earlier. I just turned 40 and finally realizing my loyalty to my job means nothing to them. Being at a 9 to 5 for so long, I struggle with clarity, vision, value adding. Okay, that was it. And value adding. Any tips?
Yeah, well, listen, if you struggle with all that and you don't want to be there anymore, remember that you have agreed. Everyone has, if you have a job, you have agreed to give X amount of your life away every single day for X amount of pay. And if you have a job, you better do a good job at it, because you've agreed to that price point. You've agreed to make that trade, that money for your life. And I say it that way because some of you may not be getting treated well at work because maybe the pay is good, but they don't treat you well, right? They're not obligated to treat you well. That's the thing. Like, no one owes you anything. That's the thing. No one owes you. They owe a basic level of safe work environment, but that's about it. So if you don't feel you belong there, go find a position at another company where you are valued, you are respected, even if it's for less pay. I know plenty of people who make less pay, but they're at an organization where they feel like they're adding greater value, that they are respected and loved by their team and their leaders, and that they are part of a mission that's meaningful to them. I, in fact, many, many years ago, in 2000 and, I don't know, early 2000s, 2002, 2003, I quit a job called Body of Change. I was a regional manager making $105,000 a year, and I quit that job, and I got another job making about $80,000 a year, so about $25,000 less per year, but I was much happier, less stressed, and finally could start sleeping well at night. And so I felt respected and loved and valued, and I felt like my mission was more in line with this newer company than with the old company, which was more like a boiler room, and I felt horrible working for them because we didn't deliver on what we promised to the customers.
Right.
You know, and I just couldn't sleep well at night.
Yeah, for sure. That obviously matters too, and it's not about the money. It's peace of mind as well.
Peace of mind is huge,
Happiness.
man.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah, and the alternative is, or go be a risk taker and start your own business.
Exactly. You could do that too. Nobody's stopping you. All right, so shout out to my man Alex the Gogi again. Purpose over pleasure. He says, on the topic of coaching, Bedros, what are the steps to become a mindset/life coach? I'm passionate about it and want to help others like my mentors and coaches helped me.
Well, I think for me, I think life experience is the greatest way. Like if you have healed through your traumas, if you have leveled up to the 2.0 version of yourself, if you have connected to consciousness, if you have worked with the therapist, if you have read the books, if you have gone through the courses, there's also life coaching certifications. I know Brandon Bouchard has a great one. I know there's several other life coaching programs out there. If you, again, Google, like, what are the best life coaching, business coaching, mentorship coaching programs, certifications out there. But it's not just about the certifications, because broken people cannot heal broken people. That's why there's a saying, hurt people hurt people, right?
Right.
So you have to do the healing yourself. Like I spent the last, decade previous to doing any of this stuff, I spent a whole decade, therapist, books, self-work, journaling, having the tough conversations with the people around me and saying things to me that I didn't necessarily want to hear, but I needed to hear so that I can course correct my life in terms of how I showed up. If you're willing to do those things and then get the education on how to be a good coach, then you can become a great life coach. But it does take time. Otherwise, you're just kind of adding to the problem. You're one of many people who aren't going to be able to help someone, and therefore that person who went through it is going to feel like, well, I worked with a counselor or a coach and it didn't work, so I'm not ever going to hire a therapist again, and they're going to miss out on the healing that they could have gotten.
Right. That's a good one. So just a reminder, again, all super chats are going to be tripled now, so we're doubling anybody super chats to send money in, and then also True Nutrition is going to be doubling, so we're tripling anybody super chats, sending it over to Maui, and helping our neighbors out, and really our neighbors, our family, right? So we're sending all the money over to them. So shout out to anybody who's sending in super chats and asking questions. We appreciate you. There was one that I saw. Hold on. There was a funny one somewhere in here.
While you're looking for that,
Yeah.
Andrew, can you add a link to truelean.com, please? Guys, listen, if you're going to use supplements anyway, you might as well use supplements that I have built and designed. And this isn't just white label. Truelean supplements we built from the ground up. They're all healthy ingredients, no additives, no soy lecithin, none of that bullshit additives, no artificial sweeteners, all stevia and monk fruit, the highest quality of ingredients. And when you use Truelean supplements, whether it's greens, the wellness shot, the everyday fit hydration supplements, or the protein powder that's grass-fed, you're not only buying the highest quality of ingredients for yourself and for your family, but you're actually doing something that's going to help Shriners Children's Hospital, right? We portion of the profits from Truelean.com go to Shriners Children's Hospital. And so, again, if you're going to, and look what Truelean's doing, right? We didn't even talk about this. Jeff Rosenquist, who's the VP of Truelean Supplements, just decided, hey, we're going to triple this. And so I'm doubling the super chats, and Truelean is tripling it. And we're going to be able to help more people in Maui. So if you're using supplements anyway, consider using Truelean supplements. It would mean a lot to me, and I appreciate that.
Awesome. I found the question, or not even the question. John Doe says, I no longer have Cheeto dust in my belly button anymore. He put the the emoji up. He's stoked. I had to give a shout out to him, man. Good for you. Awesome. Good for you, my dude. All right. So now my brother June in here. Shout out to June. What's good, bro? This is my one of my like older brothers, man, a mentor of mine. And he sends a question. He says, is it important to have accountability partners, or what if there is no one around who wants to stay motivated to work out, be healthier, or purposeful? How do you stay motivated or find your tribe?
I don't stay motivated. I stay disciplined. Yesterday I had an off day. Mm-hmm. It's been 5 weeks now, 5 weekends in a row. I've been traveling and doing stuff on weekends, running workshops, masterminds, etc., speaking at events. I had the good fortune to be on Sean Ryan's show, which comes out in November, but I flew out to Nashville, 2 weekends ago. Last weekend, I was in Vegas at Flex Lewis's podcast. And so I haven't had a weekend for like 5 weeks, and this weekend we're running this $100,000 workshop here at HQ. My point is, I just started feeling burnt out a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. Which is fine, which is normal. So I know what I need to do. I had Joan clear my schedule with as much as I can, because I still have PowerPoints to work on, but I worked on it in my backyard and sitting in the sun, relaxing, listening to music, etc. but I'm disciplined. Just because I'm feeling a little tired, a little run down, doesn't mean, and I don't feel motivated, doesn't mean I'm not going to do my work. I had Joan move everything that she can to another day in terms of small meetings and stuff with the team. But the more important things, like the PowerPoint for this weekend's workshop that has to get done, my coaching calls that I needed to do yesterday, all those things happened not because I'm motivated, but because I'm disciplined. Mm-hmm. And so I'm here to tell June, brother, you don't need motivation, you need discipline, and you don't need accountability partners. Because if your accountability partner decides that he is going to lose motivation, that he's going to lose accountability, now that's going to trickle down to you. Mm-hmm. I will just be a fucking lone ranger where motivation is concerned and lean on my discipline to get me through the day.
For sure, for sure. By the way, that's a quote, man. We're gonna make some merch. We're gonna make a shirt out of that. BK merch. I don't stay motivated, I stay disciplined. So that's dope. And one thing I thought about too is, as I remember some time ago, I was going through it. I was really struggling. I remember I reached out to you. I said, B, I'm struggling right now. I think I was still living at my mom's place at the time. I was like, I need to get out of this place. I'm losing my mind. You know, wife is mad at mom. Mom's mad at wife. And like this whole thing. Oh, man. I was like, man, I need to get out of here, but I need to work harder. I need to do something to make more money and get out, right? I was like, can you hold me accountable? It's like, you're like my quote unquote rich dad. You're a mentor to me. Like, I'm so grateful for you. You're farther ahead than I am. Can you kind of hold my feet to the fire and keep me accountable? And I remember I sent that voice message and I'm like, all right, it's going to be okay. He's going to keep me accountable. And then you send me a voice message back and you're like, L, don't ever ask another man to keep you accountable. And you told me why. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah. So the moment you ask another man to hold you accountable. Now, look, if you're like, hey, B, God forbid, man, if you reach out to me and you're like, hey, B, you know, I don't feel like I'm in a good headspace. I'm in a very dark space, and I think I'm going to make a permanent decision, and I'm going to off myself. Dude, I'm like right there. I'm with you. You're in my passenger seat. We're going on a drive. We're going on a hike. We're talking. It doesn't matter how many days and nights we spend together. But when you ask another man to hold you accountable, what you're doing is you're offloading your power of discipline, of self-accountability to another person. The most powerful thing that a man has is his word to himself. And your word and your reputation to yourself has the greatest amount of weight. And so I would never offload my most powerful, masculine energy, which is my word to myself, to another man to hold me accountable because I don't believe I can hold myself accountable. Fuck that shit. I will hold myself accountable because I know my kids deserve it. I know my family deserves it. I know my lineage deserves it. I know the people around me want to see me win, and so I will do it for them when I don't feel like doing it for me. Man. And I think that was the sum of what I shared with you.
For sure. That's exactly it. All right, cool. Ben Sturman sends a super chat. He says the Battle Ready / Agogi group is freaking awesome. Nick, Josh, Byron, Nate are all awesome. So shout out to Agogi and all of the dudes who run it, man.
Hell yeah.
A solid group of people. Let me see. What's the next question? Let's have another one. Okay, so as I said, I said what I said. Sends a question. I'm 41. I've been listening for about 4 months after my breakup with my ex. I put the honey buns down, LOL, got to the gym. I went from 330 to 255. Shout out to you, bro. That's some good work.
Wow.
I haven't been in this shape since my Fit Body days. I think that means Fit Body, FB. Yeah. Fit Body days. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Wow. Good job, dude. That's a tremendous amount of weight loss.
That's awesome, man. Good for you. Derek Lee says, I'm 30, been in the military 10 years, looking to start something new, but don't know where to start. Another 10 years, I would retire, guaranteed money, but feel like I have a calling to do something different.
Well, brother, Derek, first off, thank you for your service. Secondly, again, if you don't feel like you need to stay those 10 years because you have a calling, figure out what that calling is. The best way to figure it out is go, what category? There's probably, if you don't know exactly what you ought to be doing, there's probably a category, right? Like categories are, do I want to be in food and nutrition? Do I want to be in pharmaceuticals? Do I want to be in sales? Do I want to be in automotive? Do I want to be in whatever? And so figure out a category and then go work for someone who's successful in that category. It doesn't mean that you have to live there forever, but just go work for them and that might drill it down to you. The way I evolved into the man I am today at 49 years old is I was a personal trainer in my early 20s. And I loved coaching people on their health and fitness. But what I loved even more was the conversations in between sets where I was able to help people with their mindset. And I was able to help them to reframe their relationship. And when Mrs. Jones would hint to she's in a toxic relationship. She's got a husband who's a deadbeat, that he might be cheating on her. I would just ask her, like, do you think you deserve to be cheated on? And I would get her to think. And little did I know, I enjoyed coaching people's minds more than I enjoyed coaching people's bodies. After several years of owning gyms, I realized I actually love coaching people's minds more than coaching their bodies. And so that's how I evolved. But I started off coaching. It was in the health and fitness space, but I really moved to the more mindset and money space because I realized those two things can really break someone free of a lot of limiting beliefs and a lot of limiting places. Like if you're stuck in a relationship and the only thing stopping you from leaving is you don't have the money, well, if you learned how to make more money, you could leave that bad business partnership, you can leave that bad marriage, you can leave that bad relationship.
Right, exactly. And I always let people know when I'm on the call with them, people who are trying to get business coaching with you, they always talk about their business because that's what they're coming in for. And say, okay, cool, you're definitely going to get help with business. That's nothing. He can do that in his sleep. That's easy for him. But what you're also going to be getting is mindset coaching. You're going to develop personally because he doesn't want to just help the business. He wants to help the person who is developing, who is at the helm of building these businesses and providing these jobs and things like that. And so it's apparent that you're super passionate about that for sure.
Yeah, man. My friend Nick Long says it this way, and he's an amazing entrepreneur. He says, the business plan is easy, the businessman is complex. And so I've learned that if I can help you be successful in the business plan, but I don't help you become a successful businessman, then I haven't done my job. So I've got to help the man as well as the plan.
For sure. Joe Gilly says, I have 3 kids in a single income household. Big risks have bigger impacts for me. Any advice for that? It feels a lot heavier with more on the line. Bigger emergency seems to help.
Sure. I agree, man. You've got 3 kids. You've got more to lose if something goes wrong, if he's trying to launch a new business or something. And this is where my friend Craig Ballantyne and I created the term Friday Night Project. Create your Friday Night Project. So instead of going out on a Friday night to party, raise the roof, have some drinks, let loose. Friday night after work, buckle down and use all of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to start your side hustle, your side business, and slowly grow it to the point where it can get to a place where it's competing with your current level of income. And then you will feel confident in pulling the ripcord on your job and then going all in on what was your side hustle becomes your main hustle. But it has to be that using that discipline to say no to partying, no to friends, no to birthdays, no to weddings, no to funerals. I've said no to a lot of things like that. Get-togethers on weekends, to say yes to starting my new side project on a Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday.
There we go. All right, Win Every Day Jay says, hey, Bedros, my job is thinking of bringing back mask mandates, and I don't comply. Any ideas of what I should do? I already have side hustles, but not enough to match what I make in my job and pay bills.
Yeah, man, I can't make that decision for you, brother. But what I can tell you is our country is on the line and our kids are watching. And so I was willing to lose everything during the pandemic. And I remember Andrew actually asking me during the pandemic, are we going to be okay and are we going to lose our house? And I said, I think we're going to be okay, and I don't think we're going to lose our house. But if we do, we're going to stay with Papi and Tati, which is my parents, grandma and grandpa in Armenian. And he's like, okay, got it. Because I was willing to, I kept going on Fox News and talking about that this is a plandemic. I kept saying that I'm not going to enforce masks at HQ, that I'm not going to shut down our Fit Body locations beyond those first 2 weeks that we did. And I was getting a lot of flack. Even my attorneys were reaching out to me and saying, look, like, what are you doing? Shut your freaking mouth, right? Like, you are the figurehead of a international franchise. And we lost franchisees who just didn't have the same belief system as I did. They're like, hey, you are toxic. You are a bad human. I'm leaving the brand. Cool. The majority of locations that we lost were a byproduct of the pandemic and them having to shut down. But we lost 5 or 6 franchisees because they just didn't agree with me. And that's fine too, man. Freedom of speech. But I was willing to do that. Now I get it. I have a business and I have businesses and whatever, but I also have a high overhead. My payroll is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars Actually, we might even be in the 7 figures per month. And so nothing wrong with that, but I had stuff to lose as well. But sometimes you go, all right, if I have to tighten the belt, live off top ramen, stay on a friend's couch with my family, because I believe in this cause so much. There are battles that I'm not willing to fight, and then there are battles that I'm willing to die on. And so that is one of them for me. I can't say that for this guy.
For sure. I kind of want to ask you, because a couple of things you said right now, basically surrounded, you need to follow your own core values, stick to your guns. I can't answer the question for you, but what I would do, that kind of thing. So I want to ask you, how do you remain so true to yourself and allow yourself to be willing to lose everything? That's a very scary thing for a lot of people. And the reason I thought of that is from this question, how you answered it, but also from what was like 2 weeks ago when you guys were in Texas for World Conference.
Yeah.
I always like asking like how it went, right? Because I'm not there. So I'm like, how'd it go? How was Beast Talk? How was this person? How was that person, right? And it's always funny. They talk about like your talk, and sometimes you'll make people kind of uncomfortable in the crowd and you say certain jokes or whatever. Yeah. But you're just being yourself. You're being authentic. You don't care. But they understand you're coming from a place of love. So how are you, what's kind of the process of getting to that point where you can just be your authentic self and you don't care about losing people, losing money, losing your home? Like, how did you get there?
Well, it's kind of a two-part thing. So I look at it this way. I've got to be a role model to my kids, Andrew and Chloe. And 10, 20 years down the line, I don't want them to look back and go, wow, Dad complied with something that is now proven that was bad. Dad knew it, but he complied anyway. Dad was a sheep. And deep down inside, while they'll love me, they've eroded some respect for me, number one. Even worse, I know to my core that I can't live with losing respect for myself. Because in addition to Andrew and Chloe, I feel like I have to be a role model to you and to Andrew here in the studio and to Ed and to all my friends. And so I realized the role and responsibility that I have is heavy. They say heavy is the head that wears the crown. I don't want to look back on history and realize I was on the wrong side of it because I knew it, but I was too much of a coward to make that call because I wanted to be able to make a little bit of money still and be able to still stay afloat. I don't want to have money but lose respect for myself, because to me that is the fastest form of suicide. I'd rather lose it all, because I also know I've got the ability to rebuild on the other side of it. Now, I don't think I'm going to lose it all, because I'm a fucking wily motherfucker. I am wily. No pandemic, no government, no nothing can get me. I don't want to sound egotistical. I have a track record of winning in life because I take the risks, I do the work, I have a great network of friends and community and people I can trust on, and together we are a formidable force. And so that is why I'm so confident. Now, why can I go on stage and make people's buttholes cramp up and butt cheeks, tighten up, and talk about fucking crazy shit, right? That's really taken place in my life, or examples that I give that makes people squirm in their seats? Because, again, historically now I've been on the internet for 15, 16, 17 years. Like, you can look at my YouTube videos going back to 2008, right? If there is a track record of me being an asshole, you would have seen it. If there's a track record of me being inauthentic, you would have seen it, because even accidentally it would have slid through. Right. And so when someone's got a track record of some 20 years in the public eye and they've done the right things. And then, by the way, when I didn't do the right thing, when I brought on Club Ready as a software for Fit Body Bootcamp, and it was the worst decision I made. It's a front desk software. Club Ready is a front desk software. Was the worst decision I made. I literally, once we figured out it was the worst decision and that software product did not deliver on the promise that it said, I apologized to our franchisees publicly on a Instagram Live or a Facebook Live in our private Facebook group at the very next Fit Body World Conference. I apologized from stage, and I said, I realize I brought on a software as the CEO of this company that does not meet our needs and does not meet the promises that they had set forth. I will find a solution. And so we went on to not only find a solution, but I'm now a partner in the solution, which is Fit Pro Tracker, a much better POS system, point of sale system for gyms. And so when I have made mistakes, and I've made plenty of them, I just own up to it and I go, guys, I fucked up. I'm an idiot. I got hoodwinked. But here's how I'm going to make it right.
Right.
And people are forgiving of you if you're willing to apologize, own it, and then move forward. So when you've got a track record of being direct, open, honest, and then apologizing for your mess ups, they are willing to just let you take them on a journey, whether it's on stage or on a podcast, and talk about the crazy shit that I'll talk about because they know it comes from a place of love.
That's dope, man. That's dope. All right. JG sends a super chat. Something similar happened to me as a child. I'm not sure what they're referring to, but
probably
something
sexual abuse or something, because I was sexually abused. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so something similar happened to me as a child. I just want to say thank you for being proof that I'm not what happened to me. I can be a great man.
Yeah, brother, you are not what happened to you. I don't know if you were physically, emotionally, or sexually abused, but you are not what happened to you, and you did not deserve that to happen to you. And you are not going to repeat that cycle. In fact, you are going to be a role model of great humanity, because those of us that have survived tremendous abuse, those of us that have survived the most horrific experiences that man can put on another man, also have the greatest amount of compassion and empathy and ability to serve.
Yeah. Hey, that was crazy. What's not even crazy, what's like so disgusting about this whole situation is how common it is. Like, he sends a super chat, you talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
I just spoke about it publicly for the first time on the last Squire episode or the Squire episode before that, talking about me being abused when I was a kid. And it's just crazy how common it is, man.
Yeah.
It
is common.
It's crazy, man.
1 out of every 3 people have had physical, mental, or emotional abuse. 1 out of every 4 people have had sexual abuse. And so in this room right now, in the studio, there's 4 of us. And so there's your math, right? And so, but guess what? That doesn't make us unlovable. That doesn't make us broken. We shouldn't carry this shame about us. I did all that. I carried shame, rage, confusion. I felt unlovable. I felt broken. And you probably did too. We've talked about this. And then you realize, like, fuck, man, I didn't do anything to deserve that. And quite honestly, that's not who I am. I'm not a broken person. So I now have survived something that most people can't, and I've become a decent member of society. I need to be a better role model and serve humanity because I've got a superpower. Now, I've gained a superpower. You've gained a superpower. And when you start reframing it that way, that motherfucker, I've got a superpower. I'm going to help people now instead of hurt people. Whew, it's over.
It's game over, man.
Yeah, let's take one more.
For sure. All right, Brandon H. Actually, hold on. Let me make sure there's no more super chats. Okay, so I'm going to ask this one then. So Brandon H. says, how do I justify to my wife and my kids leaving them for an hour a day to go to the gym? They seem more concerned about time with me right now than my health and more time later in life.
Well, listen, I'm guessing Brandon here has everything. If you got everything else squared away in life, meaning like you don't waste time playing video games, you're not binge watching social media or TV or whatever, and you're a good husband, you're a good father, you're a good provider, you got to go, hey, honey, hey, kids, for me to be able to be the better husband, the better father, the better provider, I have to go to the gym and I have to get this workout in for an hour. And you may not see the value of it now, but you will see the value of it when you guys are older, kids. And wife, I need you to support me. And I would talk to the wife separately, bro. I wouldn't talk to the wife near the kids about this. I would talk to the wife separately about it. And let them know that this is a non-negotiable. I will do this. Now, hey, if we need to find a different time of the day that I can do it that works better for you guys, great. But it still has to work with my work schedule. And I still want to do it in the mornings. And so maybe we're not going to stay up late at night, honey, to watch TV because I need to wake up an hour earlier, so we have to go to bed an hour earlier. I'm willing to do all that. But at the end of the day, I need you to support me and get my back. If I was saying I need to go drink at a bar for an hour, I would expect you to give me resistance.
Yeah.
I don't expect you to give me resistance here. I expect you to give me support, and I expect you to explain to the kids that dad is being a great role model, and when you guys are older, he's going to take you to the gym with him.
For sure.
Like, that's the responsibility your wife has as a wife.
For sure. And also, too, I think, speaking from personal experience, I think also it helps to have them have their own time as well. Like, you work out, but also Dad works out. You have your hobbies. She also has her hobbies. And so I noticed in my own marriage, it became easier for me when it was like, okay, well, yeah, I got to go work out. First of all, I do it early in the morning, but if I go and take a second workout, she understands that it's after I put the girls to sleep. She hits her time to just get to relax. I go and get my second workout or whatever the case is, or train with Andrew or something like that.
Yeah.
But then she also has her time to go and get her nails done or do whatever she wants to do. And so we all kind of have to have that time to take to ourselves. And this is literally you bettering your health. So you should.
Nothing could be better.
You should be able to do that. And
by health, like physical and mental health.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like nothing could be better. It's like if you don't want me on heart medication and blood pressure medication and antidepressants, you're going to want me. You're going to encourage me to go to the gym because I'm going to be a savage man for you.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Awesome, guys. So we're wrapping it up. We appreciate everybody sending in super chats. Tripled it, and so I'm sure that off off this live, we're doing more than Joe Biden right here, man. $750 for one house. Come on, man. Come on, Joe. Get it together, man.
Leighton just smacked Joe Biden across the mouth in the final moments of the show.
We just got to end it off with a bang. So anyways,
there it is.
A pleasure sitting down with you, B. Appreciate your time.
Likewise, brother. You as well, Leighton. And guys, remember this, that average is the enemy, that success is your responsibility, and change can take place in an instant if you are willing to flip the switch. Love you guys. See you next time.